Willie Snead, okay, former 49er Willie Snead, was on a YouTube channel called the New Orleans Football Network on YouTube. I want to play this clip of Willie Snead talking about Brock Purdy.
Every quarterback, it's a very quarterback friendly system. Is that fair to say? And like, what are the things that you see just kind of, you know, as a student of the game that makes it that?
Yeah, I think it is very quarterback friendly when you understand what you have around you and what you're trying to accomplish as an offense. You know, to be honest, I feel like Brock is the best example because like he came in like in such an abrupt moment, but if you saw everything leading up to that, like just the time he spent off the field with, you know, the other coaches and, you know, trying to understand what we're accomplishing with each play, you know, because every play you're trying to accomplish something. You're trying to get this certain person the ball. And if this person doesn't get the ball, this person is going to be wide open. So that's the next step of just this offense is really understanding from the quarterback's point of view. It's like, I got to get to this point. If I feel any type of pressure, if I feel this coming at me, I know I got this open. And it's like, you can't even hesitate. And, you know, for me as a receiver hearing all this, it's like, okay, I know that with certain coverages, with certain looks, I might not get the ball, right? But at the same time, I still got to run my route full speed. I still got to get to my spot because at the end of the day, I could think it's this, but it could end up being that. You know what I'm saying? So like as a student of the game, you just have to be able to really dive in. And I've been there for 2 years with San Fran, so I really got to understand the playbook. And it is very quarterback friendly, like I said. But it's like if the quarterback is very like elementary with how he's trying to learn it, you know, it's not gonna.
Yeah.
You're not going to be as efficient, right? But if you got a guy who's diving in like Drew, who wants to know like X, Y, Z, if this doesn't happen, where do we go? You know, if we get this coverage, you get what I'm saying. You know, it's that's how the offense elevates to the next level. You know, so it can be whatever the quarterback chooses it to be. And I know Kubiak is going to put, you know, some good stuff in because he did add some good stuff in during the season, which we did like as receivers. You know, when it comes to pass game stuff. So I know that's going to be exciting for the skill players there, but I think just with DC and the other quarterbacks there, I know if they get a handle on, you know, what Kubiak is trying to accomplish with each play, like it'll look effortless. You know what I'm saying? Like it'll just look like that. Cause that's how, when you watch Brock and people say he's like, oh, he's going to the checkdowns. It's like, yeah, bro, they wide open. Like it's a part of the concept. You know what I'm saying? Like if they drop underneath the 7, he's going to go down to the
pick up 10 yards. He is a centrist in a world of extremists, which is how I feel too, when it comes to Brock Purdy and other things. But when it comes to Brock Purdy, did you notice multiple times he said, oh, the system, and he indicated that Brock Purdy is really, really good. It's both things. Because he ultimately compared him to Drew. He's a Saint, so he compared him to Drew Brees. And then he was talking about Clint Kubiak, who's left the 49ers and is now the offensive coordinator for the Saints. So it will make the joint practices that the Niners and Saints have this year interesting. But he's talking about it in the context of the Saints. But multiple times there he talks about the system, and multiple times he talks about how Brock is better at it than most people. Because we know you've watched enough football. Just saying, well, here's the system, any quarterback can go execute it. It's not true. Most quarterbacks aren't capable of doing it efficiently and consistently. Brock Purdy has done it efficiently and consistently. It is not just Brock. It is not just the system. Kyle's had other quarterbacks in this system that haven't been as good as Brock. If Brock played for the Bears last year, he would have been a lot worse. Think about the great quarterbacks. They're parts of really great, efficient systems to the point that by the end of it, you're not even sure how to separate Steve Young and Joe Montana from the West Coast offense. And by the end of it, it may be that you could put that guy somewhere else and he would still be great. By the end of it. Generally, that's what happens. When you play for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years in a certain system, and you're great. Like you win a lot, you overcome a lot, you succeed, and you see a lot, and you do it under pressure in the playoffs. Now I think you're actually more likely to be able to play in something else and still play well because you've been allowed to grow in a safe, healthy, nurturing environment, and you evolve and you evolve and you evolve. But at first, what builds confidence faster than anything? Success. Success builds confidence. Succeeding, a young quarterback succeeding is one of the best things that can happen. And a young quarterback failing is okay to a point if you're overcoming it. But if you're just failing and failing and failing and it's getting harder and harder and harder, I mean, it buries people. The pressure of it all buries people. So you can't separate them. You can't separate them. I said this last year, and I've said it. A few times. I asked a player last year, who is the what is the reason the Niners get so many open receivers? And he said Shanahan immediately. And if you listen to what Willie Snead just said, he just said that too, without saying it exactly. He said, if you go to the check down and it's covered, it means something else is even open more, like really more. Spy v. Spy says, if you only lean one way, you're not a centrist, you're a timid leftist. Well, this is the point, is that nobody who says they're a centrist, when I say nobody, I mean most people, they're not. Everybody says they're middle. Everybody's like, oh yeah, common sense, man. That's what I'm about. It's like, yeah, okay, well, who's common sense? There was something else I wanted to get to from Willie Snead, but I'll do that in a second. John of Malta says, depending on a rookie receiver is a bad bet. Lee says, could have always traded back into the second for Ricky Pearsall. Oh, could they have traded back into the second for Ricky Pearsall? Didn't like any of the O-linemen that much. In order to trade back, someone's got to want to trade up. No one wanted to trade up. Mike says, it's hard to imagine what an Ayuk trade looks like at this point. A trade should make both teams think they're better off. Yeah, you can come up with 17 different scenarios of here's what a trade would look like. But a lot of them are unrealistic. Comment from Anthony. He puts a quote from Bill Parcells. You can't dream up confidence. Confidence is born of demonstrated ability. That's a great quote. I've not heard that quote before. I've not heard that quote before. That's good. Yeah, I joke with people sometimes when it comes to like broadcasting. You have to have a job to get a job, because you have to have like tape, show people tape. Which is not exactly the same thing as this, but it is kind of like, in order to have somebody confident in you, you have to be able to demonstrate ability. But in order to demonstrate ability, somebody's got to give you a job.